Hey mom, can I have a quarter? Hey, Fregorn here. I got a update for a build for 3.27 Keepers of the Flame League. Path notes just came out about an hour ago, 2 hours ago. Got a chance to read through them. They're very small. I was expecting massive meta shakeup, but we did not get that. So if you haven't had a chance to read them yet, go ahead and knock it out. It won't take you very long. The only big changes is to the assassin ascendancy, and then obviously the league mechanic itself has a lot of big changes coming. But I read through the skill gem changes and the ascendancy changes. I noticed that there was nothing nerfed in Necromancer at all. And one of my favorite skills with Necromancer was massively buffed. Dark Pact. So it's base crit, which I don't really care about because I'm going to play it as poison, at least to start. Went from 5 to 7, which is nice. 2% is big. Easier to scale crit if you decide to play it that way. And then the huge news is base scaling damage went from 12% of your skeleton's life from 8. So that's a 4% flat increase of how you're scaling that damage, which is huge. And in the old, doesn't say this in the patch notes, but in the old version of Dark Pact, when it was 8%, quality would add 2%, so you could scale 8 to 10, and you would always get 20% quality at least on your skeletons. If you get that, and it hasn't changed, and since they didn't say anything about it, I'm going to assume it hasn't changed, so quality still probably is 2%. Taking sacrifice skeleton's life up to 14%. So, how do we make this work? I did a previous video on this with an occultist, and I still have that character not completely geared out and ready, but I will go through some of the things that I'm going to do for my league starter as Dark Pact, Totems, Necromancer. I actually played this on an occultist during 3.26, but Necromancer is definitely the way to go. So, let's look at that build. So, I have that character right here. It is Cult Fray. And what am I doing with it? Mainly going to show you some of my gear. So the gear you're going to need to get going, league start, is just for sure 2 pieces and a third if you really want to make it work well. A cheap dendrobait. You won't get one with 6 links and 47% increased damage and 1 to all max resistance and implicits. Just get a regular one, 4 link it, and run it with Dark Pact, Unbound Ailments, Spell Totem, and Chain. That's your 4 supports to get you started. As you add links, you can get Void Manipulation and Deadly Ailments in there. So that'll be your 6th link. Very easy. Dendrobait's going to give you 75% increased damage with poison. This actually is not just 75, it's scalable up to 100. I got a bad roll. Try to get one with a high 100% increased damage with poison if you have at least 300 dex, and at least closer to 25% increased poison duration if you have 150 intelligence. Those are your best modifiers to look for on a non-corrupted version. Later on, you'll look for corruptions with either increased damage or reduced chance to get take damage from critical strikes. Scaling gem levels in this Dark Pact build doesn't do you any good except for minion gem levels, but minion gem levels only need to be in your glove and your helm, because you're going to scale the level of your skeleton to do your damage. I'm going to show you how. So, second piece of gear you need is the Veil Caress. This is mandatory, and you need a high level, preferably 21, Veil Summon Skeletons. Quality on here gives you maximum summon skeletons. That doesn't help. You don't need that. So you don't even need quality. Just a 21 Veil Summon Skeletons. So when it's in Veil Caress, you won't have the minion implicit to start. It'll just be a regular Veil Caress. You're going to get +5 to level of your socketed Veil Gems. I'm going to take my helm off for the sake of this because my helm adds 2. So this is going to replicate not having this implicit right away. So you're going to get +5 from the item and +2 from your helm, because you will have a helm that has +2 of all minion skills. So you're going to get yourself a level 29 Summon Skeletons from the Veil Caress, 5 from there, 2 from the helm, and 1 from a wand that has +1 of all minion skill gems. So that gives your skeletons a massive, massive, massive amount of life. My summoned skeletons have 17,403 life without hardly any investment into it other than that Veil Caress bumping up the levels along with this. I take all of the minion life stuff I can get on the tree. Minion life. Minion life. Minion life. Minion life. Minion life. And you must take spiritual aid because you're going to scale your damage up, minion damage. So all that scales you up. Now imagining that we have 14% because we have a 20 quality Dark Pact. As you can see, Dark Pact here, the quality gives 2% increased percent of skeleton lives contributing to chaos damage. So if the base goes from 8 to 12 and the quality still adds 2, we'll have 14. Right now, our skeletons, even with nothing invested in this, is going to be easy to get to 30,000 on a Necromancer with a ring that adds life, better jewels that add minion life. All that stuff is just going to be huge multipliers to your damage. But even with just 17,403, hit the calculator here. Times, we'll say 14 because we're assuming we get the quality from 12 to 14. Our base hit is going to add 2,436 flat chaos damage to the hit. That's with next to no investment. This can go up big time. If you get your skeleton's life to, say, 32,000. You go to 4,480 base hit. So back to the gear. Dark Pact is adding a measly 294 to 440 chaos to the hit by itself. But it sacrifices your skeleton's life to deal that much damage and adds that to the spell. So with the massively buffed skeleton life pool of 30-ish thousand, which is not hard to reach, you're looking at adding a base. I'm talking a base hit of 4,480 damage, which is a huge base hit to scale with poison damage. We're going to scale it with Dendrobate. We're going to get our dexterity up to 300 and get the increased damage from poison. We're going to get our intelligence over 150 to get the increased duration. We're going to use Leper's Alms, cheap shield. It's going to give us 40% increased duration of ailments on enemies. So our poison that normally would last 2 seconds is instantly going to get increased by 40% there. We're going to use Unbound Ailments. That's another big increase. At level 1, it's 35%. So that with the 40 is 75% right there off the bat. Increased duration, getting us near to a whole whopping 3 seconds per poison instead of just 2. There's other ways to scale poison duration. This is also scaling poison duration, so you'll easily get your poison duration with the high level Unbound Ailments up to 4.5 seconds or something like that. It'll be no problem. And they'll be doing big hits. So the poison hits themselves don't represent in this at all. It does not take into account the DPS, does not take into account that we're sacrificing a skeleton's life. So that big flat 4,000 something, if we get 32,000 life skeletons, is not added here. This is just calculating based on that 177 to 266. That number will be added by 4,000, and it's a huge multiplier to how much damage you're doing. So you're going to scale your damage with minion levels to get your skeletons, Veil Summon skeletons higher. It has to be Veil, because Veil Caress gives +5 to level of socketed Veil gems. That's the key part of this gear. Rest of your gear, you're just going to look for ways to buff your skeleton's life, fill out your own resistances, etc. So I got this guy on an occultist, which doesn't really help us. Oh, a couple good jewels I do have in here that I'm going to show you. Life from Death, massive. You're going to be killing your skeletons like crazy because you sacrifice 12% of their life per cast on this, and you're going to be using 2 totems, one from the base and then one from Ancestral Bond to cast this out. So they're going to be dying like crazy, so your other minions will recover 4% of their life on minion death. You can use hulking corpses. We're going to have zombie meat shields in the build. Big chance to taunt. This also gives another 25% increased chance to minion life, and all the passives in this medium cluster give increased minion life. So you'll get a couple of those in there. The other one you want besides hulking corpses and life from death is Blessed Rebirth, and I took it out. It must be on some other character. Blessed Rebirth is the one on the minion life medium cluster that gives you minions created recently cannot be damaged for 4 seconds. So that'll prevent your summoned skeletons from being killed by AoE and junk like that and not being able to proc the Dark Pact damage because they're dead. They have to be there to proc it. So with that up, they'll be alive for enough time to hit several of them. So the playstyle is going to be pretty simple. You're just going to go totem, totem, skeleton, skeleton. And these are just going to whack. And your totems last for 8 seconds, I think. Yeah, totems last 8 seconds. So 1, 2. And if you need to, because they're dying like crazy, you can just spam those out. And your Dark Pacts will just chain all over these guys. I'll give you a little quick playthrough. Run through the aqueduct for half a second. I don't even have the right gear on this guy. I don't have anything. This is what it's going to look like. See that circle? That's the Dark Pact chaining off the skeletons. And it's poison damage, so it's damage over time. You don't even see what's happening most of the time. Anyway, I have a tree right here that I just whipped up on the website on a necro. So what you'll do with your ascendancy is quite simple. You're going to go get your minion life. I prefer my minions to start leeching to me as soon as I can. So second lab, I take this bone barrier, so your minions start leeching. Your minions aren't going to be doing a ton of damage in this build, but you're going to have zombies, you're going to have skeletons, you're going to have spectres, and probably a golem. So there's going to be damage there. Enough to give you some sustain, especially with how safe the playstyle is. You're going to want your minions doing Unholy Might. That means they're going to wither. So they just, every hit they do has a 25% chance to apply Wither. You want maximum Wither stacks is 15. You want that on targets, at least bosses and big rares. So you get the maximum chaos damage from your Dark Pact totems. And then I like Commander of Darkness. I'm not going to use any offerings. I don't want to cast them. So my cast sequence is going to be moving, dropping totems, dropping skeletons. It's a 2-button play style. This just gives you a nice flat 30% elemental resistances, flat to your, you get that to your minions too. You get the extra 30% damage bonus. That's just very nice. And minion damage here, minion life here, minion life here, minion life here, and damage. So these are all just really good. Anyway, that's the ascendancy. Pathing, I come out here. For League Start, you just play this as whatever you want. I would probably go over here and League Start, maybe summon Raging Spirits. It doesn't really matter. I mean, those are my favorite way to come out of a Necro when I'm going to play minions as I level. Is to come out this way. Get this. Play Raging Spirits right off the bat. Come down here. Buff the life of my zombies so they don't die. And just start working on a kind of a minion army build. But you can get Dark Pact at level 28. As soon as you get it, you can plunk it in a totem. You can start scaling the life of your minions everywhere you can. And you'll be in good shape blowing through the content. So for how to apply poison, we're going to get 40% from the dendrobait. We're going to get another 10 here is 50. Another 15 here is 65. We are going to anoint think I have that on. Oh, I shut the guy off. We're going to anoint Toxic Strikes. It's very cheap. A red, a orange, and a brown. It's 15% chance to poison on hit. So I said I was at 65. That's going to take us to 70, 80. And then I'm going to use Herald of Agony for another 20%. So between all of those sources, you get your 100% chance to poison. So every hit's going to be doing massive flat chaos damage and getting withers because the minions are going to be withering. Another nice bonus in the patch notes is that minions don't need accuracy, so you don't have to do anything to make your minions hit. They're always going to hit now. Very cool. And another great bonus is Spectres. So we'll run an Animate Guardian. We'll have a massive life pool because we're scaling life for our minions. Be hard to kill, very tanky. We'll run four Spectres. And what I plan to use for Spectres is all expensive support ones. And when you start and you don't have any currency, don't get these fancy ones right here. But we will want them later. Get yourself a Carnage Chieftain from Act 7. Whatever else that supports you. And then that gives you frenzy charges. It'll give you a little buff. But later on, we will want a Forest Tiger to give us haste. So we'll have a haste aura from him. We will want a perfect Primal Thunderbird to give us grace. We'll have a grace aura from that guy. We will want a perfect Warlord to give us vitality and do Enduring Shout to give us endurance charges. And the fourth one will be a Hulking Miscreation, which, nope, not that one. A perfect Forest Warrior, which gives us Onslaught. And a Cull. So you're going to get free Cull, Onslaught, vitality, free endurance charges, free grace, and free haste, all from these guys. So they're not going to die because now the new expensive Spectres from corpses are permanent. They don't die. So if they die in a map, you just come out of your map and they're just there. You're back and you can just reactivate them. It's the best thing ever. So with an Animated Guardian, even a cheap Animate Guardian, just using a Learcast hat and a Dying Breath staff, whatever else you want to make them effective, you'll have really good sources of bonus stuff from your 4 Spectres and your Animate Guardian. Your zombies will be your meat shield. Your skeletons will be your source of damage as they get their life sacrificed to power up your Dark Pact spell totems. It's going to be a glorious build. It's going to be so strong, and it's going to be so cheap and so easy. These might be expensive early. Don't buy them. They just add bonuses. You'll still have your own mana reservation. So you'll be able to work a couple of your own auras in there. I'm going to try to get a little spell block. The shield, I should take you back to that quick. The shield has really good attack block. I think it's base like 30. It's 29 because I get 4% from my implicit that you won't have when you start this. This is a nice corruption. So it'll be 29, so that's nice. You're going to have decent evasion because you're going to get 900 from the Dendrobate. You're going to get 1300 from the shield. So that's a nice chunk of flat. I'm going to scale mostly evasion and energy shield. It doesn't really matter. But once you have your grace aura, etc., you can see I got a decent life pool. I got a 2k energy shield-ish and a 3k life pool. It's not bad for having no gear. So, I don't even have a belt on. So there's lots and lots. This is like scuffed as it gets, and it's still very effective. The trick with Spectres is a ring. So, see how this ring has +2 to level of socketed gems? You need to get your Spectre gem to level 25, or you only get 3 Spectres, and you want 4, because they add so much power. So, you get this ring. You get 2 levels from this item. You get 3 from global modifiers. I'm getting the 3 are 2 from a +2 minion helm, and 1 from a minion skill gem wand. So that's a total of 5. My race Spectre is level 25. That takes it to the 4 maximum race Spectres. If I don't have that level, it's 3. So you need to get that to 25. And it's easy to do. These +2 level socketed rings are dime a dozen. So that's the trick with the Spectres. Other stuff on the tree, like I said, I take a little spell block because I'm gonna invade attacks. Take a little spell block to defense me up a little bit. No crit, I'm not scaling any crit. I'm just scaling poison chance, a little chaos multiplier. I'm gonna take 2 curses because I want to have temporal chains and despair on targets for maximum chaos damage. Temporal chains is even going to add more chaos or poison duration, and despair is going to make them take more chaos damage. Take all these nodes that you can fit easily in your area that give you more damage over time multiplier or poison damage, and scale your poison with making sure you get dexterity's a little tougher. These are fantastic. Careful planning. So if I put that right here, I go, yeah, see, that gets me there. I go from 219 to over 3, and over 3 is the threshold you need to get your 75% increased damage with poison for 300 dexterity. So super cheap, super strong, super fun playstyle. It's so cool to just
that
totem
would just make life complicated.
Totem them up and just drop those totems and let your skeletons wander around killing. The nice thing about this Dark Pact totem is it doesn't do any damage to you because it's on a totem. So even if you don't have your skeletons up, it starts casting from the totem. You see that? It doesn't start using, it doesn't do any damage. It sucks. But once you get these guys up, it's still enough to kill these minions, even though I have no damage because I didn't have any skeletons up from there. So very, very nice. See how many hits that's giving? It's chaining around like crazy. It gives you 2 hits by itself, or 3 hits actually. It's your base chain is 2. So it's going out, it's hitting, it's chaining, it's a skeleton, it's hitting, it's chaining to another skeleton, it's hitting, that's 3. You get chain support in there, which makes less damage with hits, but you don't care about that. You're scaling poison damage. Another 2 chains hits another skeleton, 4, and another skeleton, 5. You're getting 5 hits with every cast, so you don't really need to worry too much about cast speed, because it's just going to hit a lot. So that's about it for the style of the build. I don't have a path to building yet. Actually, I made a video on this character, which does have one, so you can look at that video. I think it's called Poison the Screen or something like that. It was from 326. I made it a couple of months ago. That is about all I can think of for what to do. Patch notes look great for this build. I mean, that's such a big buff. Going from a base of 8% to 12% is just fantastic. So get yourself a Necro, get yourself a Totem with your Dark Pact, get yourself a Dendrobate, get yourself Velcaress, get yourself a Leprosauls, fill in your resistances, get your chance to poison up to 100%, which is not too hard. Like I said, you have to do this one anoint down here. Very cheap. Takes you to 100% with your Herald of Agony. And you will be rocking, killing everything in sight, and very cheaply and very smoothly moving through the game. Not a super fast mapper, but just a great all-arounder. You won't run into any big DPS check, ceilings where you're like, oh, I don't feel like I can progress. I don't have the damage. The only thing that's going to prevent you from progressing is it takes you a little longer to get through a map than it takes like a blaster, a wanderer or a lightning arrow guy. But you'll come up against stuff that's tough for them to clear, and you'll just clear it on a shoestring budget. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful for you, and good luck with your Path of Exile 3.27 League start. If it's been good, please hit the like and subscribe down below. It really helps the channel. And thanks for watching.